Hello and welcome to my channel where I'm going to be showing my art theory. Now this specific video might be quite lengthy and I'm going to be cutting it because I do have a little bit of dyslexia. So what's going to be happening is that I'm going to be reading my art essay from college. And I really hope you enjoy, okay? This is all about the it's hard for me to reread this because it was an intense time doing this research, okay? So you're going to find this somewhat enjoyable. So it's the Cavitabulism Mind, Kabbalistic Inquiry, Trispecta, Vanishing Points. Made in 2018 for Ruth Prowse in Woodstock for my final year, which I graduated. This is just crazy. Okay, so let's begin. We start off with a quote. Fundamentalism of self-autonomy, a construction by another design, can be pulled apart by foreign introspects and be part of their systematic machine. However, a self-governed man may be free and become one's own true choice. My own quote. I delve deep into the pillars of our world and the understanding that there is always balance. This is key to researching, practicing, and understanding of things. However, within many schools of thought, Freud has shown that there is infinite variables, and one must understand this, that many things must remain theory due to its large-scale incomprehensibility. The self-study of philosophy lends itself towards philosophers through the vastness of time and their contradictions to each other. That gives rise to maybe even that things can be both more and the same for myths, legends, and religions. This brings me towards the hive mind mentality. But when it comes to things this big as creation of existence, or the notion of infinite spirituality and time, which cannot be imagined, much like when one thinks of death, what we can consider fact within veneers of mathematical precision we bind ourselves to, but still such things are just theory being followed by measurement. My study of psychoanalysis with Sigmund Freud is essential due to my existence being consumed in time by living within the Western culture. It is known that his nephew, Edmund Bernays, used his work to control the masses in English language controlled spaces, in propaganda and public relations. This then leads me to the study of mathematics and nature by many through centuries and now, and by studying the cells of their symmetry with earnest. This is where one can see their function and lineage by its crystallographic form, yet it remains a form that can be changed and adapted or even destroyed. But heckle. With looking at Darwin, the father of our modern categorical system for organisms, my mind opens to the question far beyond borders of species and even living versus non-living. In our Western Hemisphere, we're mapping out everything using numbers and anatomic references, so much that the research has consumed the purpose for many lives, which we forget that what we are mapping out. Questions arise after this about the gut feeling and empathy that can be felt, but no language can portray. This made me ponder and almost lose my mind to what the sixth sense is, and for people who love animals, they would agree that us as species lack in many senses, but within the Western culture we are blocking out the heart and gut due to the mind running and running, becoming too analytical for our true selves. Here I bring in not religion but spirituality. A final key to ourselves that can be found easily in the Eastern Hemisphere: the world itself is balanced. Where it is evidently not, the understanding of evil comes into play. Whether that be an evil system that corrupts us into greed and power, or through childhood trauma that leads to empathetic or sociopathic tendencies. My thesis surrounds these things, and in some ways I wish to bring peace to whoever reads this or meets me. Balance is what it's all about, and to break the chain of evil, than to tip the scale into the void. Many of our kind have been able to represent these pillars in art and also their subconscious pieces. This is what my practical side, whether it be how my formation of character and actions or in my art. It surrounds itself with these pillars, which I have always thought but never have been able to verbalize or portray. This now gives purpose and understanding to my own intrinsic validity of ever-eluding concept of élan vital, through the personal strife and sword of consciousness that leads one to the straight gate of knowing existence, ability of mind and psyche, which evidently flows out to exhibit itself within the open window of the new hours, finding a whole new meaning in art as it portrays the flow of thought that I can analyze right through my own mental radio, and much like the Morse code art that depicts the soul's betrayal. The limited expectations of self-autonomy has, of course, been satirized by the price tag of creating a target market, workforce, and generators of empty spaces in the competitor's radar. My study regarding all these facts and ideas as theories, with the aim of combined accurate answer towards problem solving. Admittedly, this can be used to alter specific problems of issues within the self that can be remaining from internal foreign exchanges of ideas or actions that can distract one from the ideological spirit. Élan vital, a theory composed by Henry Bergson, described the sentient being comprising itself towards its final cause. Through other philosophies could be considered essence, even intrinsic ancestral ecological patterns remaining within the purpose of an organism. To go even further into cell morphology is to understand that every single cell has its purpose, however more obvious in appearance of its use. When heading into prescribed consciousness, by that I mean the subliminal or obvious details of life that lays hidden on the underlying belly of your psyche, as referred to as the subconscious. The questionable relation towards what is the born truth, scarification left memories to be forgotten. Truth to character can be defined after highlighted that one could have purposely severed due to trauma, which has been highlighted to me due to the conspiracy nature of desensitization, leading to the beneficiaries through obsessional remedies towards mitigating the damaged being. Desensitization being the end result of post-traumatic stress, leaving empathic issues within seemingly uncontrollable obscurities in character, a new age of undercover demonetization romanticism. Carried through this 21st century, it has been said by many to believing in lesser gods or be bred into propaganda purely because of the reluctance to understand their own identity of being singular, and the element of an infinite variable that leads many to dissociative errors such as Freud's mirror effect, which deals with the self and relationships to others, basing relationships with them and self on the ideological societal similarities, disregarding factors of achievability and reality, as well as the principle of neurotic inertia, which eradicates the neurological appendixes that no longer or don't serve the preservation of health. Of course, the generational payments for the greed and selfishness and lack of wisdom quoted by Chief Oren Lyrons in 1993, a statement on behalf of indigenous people of the United States, said in reference to the past horrors over the lineage of the land and the following population, this evading the truth that with growing levels of stress, violence, fear entwined into believing in lesser worshipping, slandered to the material measurement of wealth, disturbs the world into global crisis. Towards truth of existence, believed by Plato, Pythagoras, and Kepler, understood it to be universal harmony. Towards that, bring it down to a scale or two, and then we have the world harmony being eradication of separation. And for this to happen, it must be brought down another few scales into a singular being, understanding harmony in itself as being harmony of all theories and beliefs in one. The understanding of legends written as being their own psyche and all the site books, wherever people say it is just a window. Religion conspiracies and all just end up being incredibly more rewarding when observed through seeing it in the same as a television. A televised vision with a consideration of subject paradox of opinion, therefore bridges of past ideas of understanding and accepts the continuum of polymathic existence, or in other words, monkhood. However, to follow the steps of René Descartes towards the middle line between agnostic and atheism and beliefs on a higher astral being the concept of a divine, to think therefore exists on a lineage to endless time, a human separator from the continuation of either playing field, and yet still brings together on a basis of self-awareness, therefore breaks a whole new level of ability when understanding some sort of non-physical realm in our own waking moment.